Hey guys, today I'm sitting down with a few of my university friends, namely Roy, Joe, and Angeline, all of whom are Year 3 English education majors, meaning they're in the same year as I am, but they're doing the double degree program, the English education one instead of the English one, the single degree program I'm doing. I met them back in year 1 in the university English course, but it wasn't really until year 2 that I got to know each of them better. We talked about each of their language learning journeys, their advice for those of you who are learning a language, as well as those of you who are considering about joining the same English education program as they are doing, not only in HKBU, but of course in other schools as well. Their future, their career pathways, how their siblings or their friends have affected them in not only their English learning journey, but their learning journey as a whole. Their motive for working hard every day towards their goal, and finally their recommendations, books, podcasts, films, whatever it may be for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy this conversation that I had with these few friends of mine who have very different personalities, but are all great in their own ways. Let's go.
Happy New Year! How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good. The holidays, we only have about 7 days left.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Pretty sad, yeah?
No, great.
Well, I think I have a relatively longer one than you guys do because because I have to go to Fudan and before that I don't think I have to come back to PU. So yeah, that should be great. But this is Joe, this is Angeline, and this is Roy. And let's just jump straight into it.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll start off with how did you start learning English? Your English learning journey since you were a kid or in primary school, in kindergarten maybe. What was it like back then?
I went to this center called Kuman, so probably it is very famous, among Asian kids. And I feel like it was torture. And every day you just have to listen to the CD. So there is like a book like that, and there's a CD in it. So you have to listen over and over again and finish the task, and you can move on to another chapter. And basically that's how I learned. And before university, I've never ever finished a book, like both in Chinese and English. So I guess it's just listening and speaking.
That was you mean like before primary school even?
That was before secondary school.
So before secondary school, you went to this
I spent like
tutorial center
6 years, 7 years
in primary school at that center.
Before primary school. So it ends before primary school. Then I went to another tutorial center, but did pretty much the same thing. And
Okay.
so
since kindergarten, your parents just put you in
basically, yeah.
in tutorial centers. I see.
I had a relatively happy childhood. I didn't have to go to tutorial centers. I just go to school and then I go back home and attend different classes, but not like tutorial classes, just maybe gymnastics and stuff. But
Not even English.
No.
Her first language is English, she was listening to all the radios and stuff because she was in Canada.
No, speaking of that, I was in Canada for 3 years because my dad studied his master degree there.
So her first language was English.
So
Mother tongue,
since I was 0
now
years
German.
old to 3
You have to
3
bring this
years
up.
old, I was in Canada, but that's before kindergarten. But I think that's when I started listening to hearing English all the time.
What did your family spoke?
Cantonese.
You still spoke Cantonese?
Yeah, but we had
there's a mix.
Canadian neighbors, and we all always go to their homes and have parties.
So with those neighbors, you converse in English, but with the fam, you still spoke in Cantonese.
I still spoke in
I see.
So mine probably started pretty late, I would say. When I was in primary 3, I went to tutorial center again, but mainly for kids, called Explorer Island. And so you can tell it's for kids by its name, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then I learned from that tutorial center since primary 3, and I was taught by an Indian teacher who spoke fluent English. I think his mother tongue is also English as well. And so I learned from him. Every Saturday, I practiced English with him, both spoken and written English.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to do a lot of grammar exercises, writing exercises, and I can practice spoken English with him as well because he can only speak English. And so I learned English there from primary 3 to probably secondary 4, I would say.
That was quite a long
Yeah,
time.
that was quite a long time. And but then because I have to prepare for my DS examination, and I don't think that tutorial center can help me, really, prepare well for
The
such a
exams.
big examination. And that's why I quit it, and I went to some, the big names, like the modern education.
Yeah.
And but I don't think that's where I learn English. This is just for examination practice. But if you ask me when did I start learning English, I would say there was the time. Primary 3, yes.
So it seems like everyone, I did as well, like with private tutorial lessons. It's the same thing. Seems like all of us did tutorial classes.
In Hong Kong, you have to.
But so aside from Angeline probably like more so acquiring, then all of us in kindergarten we all spoke Cantonese.
I also spoke
Yeah,
Cantonese.
Angeline did, but like your family, then your neighbors, you had that like more so environment. But with the rest of us, we
I mean, of course, you speak in like Cantonese because even if you know English, you won't use
Exactly.
it.
Everyone was speaking Cantonese,
Yes.
and you wouldn't suddenly speak in English, and they will still reply
in
you
Cantonese.
in Cantonese.
Okay, so I guess then are there any specific tools like you mentioned? Like all these are like the tutorial classes. Was there more like more interest-oriented things, or it was never? To you, it was always just something like it's Asian parents. They force you, English is the lingua franca, and they, starting from a young age. Was there at any point fun in your journey? Did you recall?
Well, I think for me it's always fun to learn
It's always
English.
fun.
Yes, because I learned in a center where the teachers were very nice, and there were a bunch of kids of my age who mingles with me very well. So I think that the process is fun. But then before I really entered that tutorial center, I would say that's not fun. That's a torture for me, for sure.
Like at primary school.
In primary school.
So the way they taught English.
Yeah. Because they always force you to memorize things, to memorize the words, pronunciation and stuff. And I don't think that's that's of any fun. I don't think so. But then since then, I enjoy learning English till now.
Roy seems to be the earliest one to get into tutorial classes because since kindergarten.
Preschool, I guess, pretty young, but I don't think I used a lot of English in my life, like early life, because it's just a lot of listening, a lot of reading and comprehension, and that's not going to help with your speaking and writing. So you have problems when you speak. So maybe you can finish all the tasks they have you to do, but you cannot speak good English. So when you go dine out or engage in a conversation in the real life, in the real context, you don't know how to handle it or how to what to say maybe. So that would be a problem for me even until now, I guess. But after getting into university, I think it kind of gets better because you used a lot of English. You keep trying to immerse yourself in that linguistic environment. You try to speak more, you try to listen more, and that's when things try to improve, or at least you can be more confident.
Did you at a certain age really started focusing on speaking, or there was never one? It was always just to get through this Hong Kong system of exams, the 4 papers.
I guess it's still after university.
Not until university.
Before university, I barely spoke in English. So even in class, I don't speak in English at all. And first, I don't go to class. And then even if I go to class, I sleep. And I don't finish all the work. And I had a pretty good English teacher in secondary school. But that's not going to help because I wasn't, in the right, space, or maybe I just don't want to study. So I guess I have to wait till university. So people don't speak Cantonese, so that's the only way to talk to them is to, speak in English. So I guess that forced me to use English and, probably improve, as a speaker.
Were you all in the traditional Hong Kong schools in primary school and secondary school?
Yeah.
So like not international schools?
No.
Maybe EMI?
EMI.
But yeah, like
EMI school, but we speak in Cantonese.
It's a joke, right? Yeah, we always speak in Cantonese. It's still nothing. But then you did debating, right? In secondary school.
I did.
Did that help, you think?
I think that was the one time that I actually improved on my speaking in English in general. I had two very, good teammates who spoke really good English. I was the weakest in the team, so that really forced me to improve. Or I have to catch up with these guys, so I have to practice more or memorize the script. But the thing is, I don't have to improvise at all. So the problem is you can speak very well with a script. With a speech you can articulate your thoughts and stuff. But without a script, you cannot speak very fluently. You can't even handle daily conversations. And that's the problem for me at the time, I guess.
Did you guys join any sort of English activities back then?
In
Primary or secondary school?
I don't think so, but I had a rather I had a great English teacher who
really spoke English.
Who really spoke English. She was a native speaker.
Oh yeah, I remember.
She's from the UK, so she taught me in my in Form 1 and Form 2, I guess. In Form 1, and she didn't really just read out what the textbook says, but she organized some games and stuff to make the whole English learning thing more interesting for us. And that's when I started liking English as a language instead of a subject. I think, that's so, yeah.
Yeah, I did join the public speaking team in secondary school. Yeah, it's a team for 2 years. But then, I won't say it's a very good experience because I was pretty lazy back then in the team. Because when you have to present your arguments in front of the crowd, you need a script, right? But then I didn't prepare the script myself. My teacher literally helped me. Yes, exactly. Write the script.
Like Obama.
No, that's true. Yeah, I'm the Obama, right? And then, but then at least you can, practice English in a spoken way, right? And this is when I mean, the first year, my teacher helped me write a script. The second year, I did it myself.
Form 2, you mean?
No. It's the first year was in Form 4, and the second one is in Form 5.
He said he did it better than teacher, so...
Yeah, true. Yeah, right. No, I'm joking. With all due respect, they're good teachers. And, but I mean, these are good experiences, especially for the second year. I would say it's a good experience. But then I think, but the best experience for me was probably when my teacher somehow, realized that in some occasions I was confident in speaking English for some reasons, and so they invited me, to participate in some ceremonies, to be, the MC, to be the masters of the ceremonies, and so. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it very much, and So that was the time when I, realized that English can be very fun. Especially when you can, not really host an event, but speak in a big crowds. But and so I pretty enjoyed the experience.
But would you say, like, even though with these tutorial schools, like you said, they didn't help when you switched to modern education, say,
Yes.
they didn't help you learn English. That was for the exams.
Exactly.
Was there, things you did yourself outside of school, outside of the tutorial lessons?
There is always a trade-off, I guess. You have to learn the skills in order to survive the exams, to hack into the system or get good grades. But honestly, the thing you can do outside school is to practice. It's cliche, but you just have to speak more, write more, read more, listen more, and that's the way to improve any languages, in fact. And for me, I'm not very good at speaking and at articulating my thoughts and stuff, but I love reading. So after I read, I try to memorize all the quotes and good lines, maybe all the things that I like, and I try to apply them into my writing as well. I'm not trying to copy and paste the quote and stuff and use them, but try to memorize or imitate the style that they use so that I can incorporate it in my own writing. And that's how I started writing. And I think that actually helped me, in a way. But that's not the original way, I guess, but it kind of helped me in the very beginning.
We all did DSE, right?
Yes.
Did you write stories?
I didn't, but...
You did. I was afraid you said you did.
You know what? And from my whole, senior, high school experience, I've never finished a piece until the last week. So I spent, I was lazy. I skipped all the classes. I either sleep or, just skip the whole class. So at the final week before my writing exam, I was nervous. I was afraid, of getting bad grades because I never finished a whole piece. I don't know whether I can do well. So I asked, my English teacher to mark my papers every single day. So I write one day before the exam. And I just got lucky. I got good grades.
How about you two? Was there anything outside of?
Oh, well, like he was a fan of books, and I loved films, and that's how I think I learned how I learned English and actually developed an interest in it. I really liked watching like English films. It's like The Intern or something like that. So that's I actually find some good vocabulary items and sentence patterns inside the film, and that's sometimes I might jot them down, and so that I can use them in my daily conversation or in my writing even. Yeah.
Is that how you learn German as well?
German. Yeah, well, I have tried.
For information, Angeline has finished minoring in German at BU.
So you gotta ask her in German so she can answer.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but you gotta try.
I can't do it.
You gotta.
They know. I struggle.
You gotta, persuade them to learn English by practicing. So you gotta be a role model. So,
but with another video, I actually, I
I'm just
confess.
kidding.
Yes.
Yeah. But I do think it's a good way to also learn every language through watching films, because you get to listen and you pay attention to how they use their language, and especially the colloquial language instead of written one, and then you actually learn how to speak their language instead of just using it for exams.
Yes. So I'm a big fan of football, right? So and
Soccer, not American football.
You don't coach soccer.
They can tell from what you see.
What I see? Don't
Compare with volleyball.
please.
We're all Asians.
People who play football are always short.
Yeah.
Are you
That's
sure?
true. That's true. That's true.
That's true.
No.
The good ones are short.
Yeah, that's true. That's why you're tall. No, I'm joking, man. I'm joking. So I'm a big fan of football, and I watch English football. Okay, and many of the time, before the games and after the games, there are always interviews, and because I was so into football when I was still a secondary school student, and I not only played football, but I basically watched every single game at that time. So I do watch the interviews as well, and I find those interviews really useful for me to learn English, because there are many English managers, English players who can speak very colloquial English, and I can always learn some phrases, or not even phrases. I mean, sometimes you can tell, okay, by this tone, okay, what they're trying to say, or you can realize. You can always learn something from their spoken English, or accent maybe, because players from different part of England always have different accent. Like Liverpool, that one is one accent that I find really difficult to understand, and I always find this interesting, and I really enjoy learning English through the world of football. I would say it's a good way to learn English.
We even did a project on the Liverpool accent
Yes,
in
true.
one of our linguistic courses.
Yes,
Right.
we did.
I don't know. Liverpool, I thought, what was the accent that's hard to understand? Like the one with the working class in...
Colony.
Yeah. But that's a different one you're saying.
Linguist. No, that's different. Liverpool,
That's easy.
people that speak Scouse. Yeah?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's called Scouse. Yeah, I think it's...
Right, that's a different one. But I feel like I don't know if I could summarize. Like I was going to ask you for advice, but it seems like that is the advice, right? Like to like use it more.
True.
Guess, yeah, and I guess read more too. And ever since I started reading, and my writing skills has been improving, and that's something you are not conscious of when you're doing. So when you start to read, there are a lot of words that you don't know, perhaps, and you have to check the dictionary.
A lot
But
of
sometimes I will skip all the words if I can understand them. So I will go back and revisit the text, and just so it won't affect my reading experience. And after perhaps reading and rereading, I will try to imitate the style, just as I said. And sometimes I'll also go off the, try to go against the grain maybe. Don't think that you are a second language learner or writer, then you cannot write something good. I guess that's a very common misconception about language. And it's all about experimenting with the language and try to use different combination of words and stuff. Sometimes it came off as awkward or weird, but the other time you may just got lucky and you can really know what you're doing, and you just try, I guess. I don't know how to put it correctly or accurately, but there is no better way to do it except for you to try.
That's something I'll probably do with German after I graduate. Maybe not minor. Now let's move on to some advice for freshmen. You've been doing this program, double degree, for 2-3-ish years now. Is there any precautions, words of reminders for the ones who are gonna embark, who consider on embarking on this double degree, wonderful 5 years journey?
For me, I think it's a good program. It equips you with all the things you need, but don't take it. And the reason is simple. And if you don't want to teach, then just really don't take it, because you have to be passionate about your job. And honestly, I'm not that kind of person right now. And maybe sometime else I would be, but obviously not now. And I think teaching is a very hard, very difficult job, especially when there are little kids in the classroom where you have to handle all the disciplinary problems and disruptive behaviors other than just teaching. And that would also be another advice, is to work harder out of classroom, because you're working for a double degree in 5 years, and you're spending just 1 extra year to get an extra degree. That means there's going to be trade-off. You're learning more theoretical, education knowledge or theories and stuff, but you're sacrificing your exposure to language. So make sure you read more or write more, and try to use the language in real life. I know it's hard because most of your classmates are going to be local students, and sometimes it's awkward to speak in English. We don't talk in English, unless we're doing a vlog like right now, but try to speak in English at least in class. So you're doing your thing at least in class, and if you feel like speaking English outside classroom, don't feel shy to do it, and that's perfectly normal even if you can't speak good English right now. And I think that's a really huge step that you can take especially when you are already an English education student or maybe a teacher to be. That means you have to really consider improving these attributes, or as a teacher and as an English speaker.
So I think that's actually brings to the second point. If you are planning to take this program, I would suggest those students make sure you do want to be a teacher, right? Because I can share some stories. I maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but fine. I'll say it anyway. Anyways, so because back then when I was in my secondary school, I had a terrible English teacher. Yeah, it's you. You are terrible. Yeah, I'm saying you. Because she never taught. Every single classmate of mine knew it. She never taught. So one example real quick. So on a rainy school day, okay, during the class when she was supposed to teach, she didn't, because students were having soaking socks and stuff. It's a rainy school day, right? And then instead of teaching, she decided to make paper shoes for her students. Grabbing some newspapers, grabbing some rubber bands, grabbing the staplers to make paper shoes for her students.
That was hard. That was very considerate.
That's a nice person, right? How nice was her? But then, this was an English lesson. You had to teach, yeah. But she didn't. She decided to make paper shoes. Brilliant. And so starting from that point, I decided that I have to be a good teacher. Unlike you, I want to be a teacher, but unlike you, I want to, get back to my secondary school and kick you out. But then I realized when I was in year 1, I realized that she had left. But then I'm still passionate. I'm still a passionate teacher to be, I would say.
That's not your ultimate goal.
So what's your drive right now?
Nothing.
No. I want to be a good teacher unlike her. Still I want to be a teacher, but unlike her.
But you can't kick her out anymore.
I can't kick her out, but I can still be a good teacher.
So she kind of encouraged you to, be a good teacher.
Yeah.
So she's a good educator.
Wow. I should have thought of that. Wow.
Planted motivation in
Thank you for your paper shoes. Thank you. Yeah. So that's why that's my advice and my experiences. Yes.
How about Angeline? Is there advice?
Advice. Actually, they've already talked about what I wanted to say.
Do you regret? No.
I didn't really regret, but sometimes it's just not as smooth as you think it would be, as you thought it would be, because I always thought, like when I took this program, everyone said, "Wow, you look like a teacher already," something like that, and I was like, "Oh yes," and then I then I start studying like those courses, then I realized no, not really. Those were quite tough. Like everything, like having to write lesson plans, design materials. Those are not easy jobs. I thought those were easy, just writing what I would do in this lesson and creating some cute PowerPoints. But then it's different. I just have to be very creative, but I don't think I'm a very creative person. I always thought being a teacher was like a routine job. You just have to do what you read. It's not really like reading out what you have on the textbook, but just reading out what you planned and stuff. But I think the whole planning part is the most difficult part. When you actually teach, it's not that difficult. But when you plan, you actually, I would doubt myself. Oh, I don't think the students would be interested in this, in joining or like participating in this activity or something like that. And I have to. I think one of the most important elements of being a teacher is confidence. You have to be confident in yourself. You know what you're teaching, and you are sure that the students will also respect you and listen to you. And I think this is something you have to, take hold of.
Right. But like going back to you two, because I know you two actively made a choice. Like CU actually accepted you with their English programs, but then you guys, despite being able to go to CU, you actively made that decision to come here to do education.
That's him. Not me.
Did that happen?
No. I
That
wish.
happened to him.
It happened to him.
Why?
Yeah, I was stupid.
He
I'm
wanted
just kidding,
to be.
but honestly, I don't think it's gonna make that much of a difference because for me, studying is all about yourself. So even I have great classmates and study partners and stuff, but it all boils down to how hard you work at the end of the day. And sometimes, of course, the linguistic environment, the proficiency of your content policy is important, but I think you can always find a way to improve if you want to. If you want it, so bad that you can't afford to miss any opportunity. And for me, I think the reason why I like reading and writing is because you can do it alone. You don't have to count on anyone. I'm not saying I don't trust anybody, but the fact that you can do it alone makes your plan more flexible. You can read anytime. You can write anytime. And unlike speaking, I have all the time in the world to think of what I'm gonna write, and I can also delete it. I can edit it. I can change my mind before I actually publish it. So that really helped me. I'm not too confident with using English for speaking or writing, but that sort of gave me a leeway to do things that I normally wouldn't do in real life. Perhaps I won't speak, give an impromptu speech or improvise. When I was put on the spot, I would just say a few sentences and I would go off. But if you give me a pen and paper, I can have all the time to think and I can write. And I think that would be a good starting point for people who are less confident in the public sphere to use the language.
Like writing, not showing your face. Kind of like with videos, because like with videos, some creators, with tech, I know, they only show their hands for the first few years, or gaming. And then finally, 5 years, they do a face reveal video. And then they come out like Mr. Who's the Boss, and then they say like, oh, you suck. Look at this, he's like a skinny guy or something. Maybe that's like writing.
I always feel like if you have to speak something, that never came off as you expected. So maybe you have something in mind that you cannot articulate it very well. Maybe maybe it's a slip of tongue. Maybe you cannot think of the word. Even in Cantonese, I cannot speak well. So the thing is, you have to, of course, you have to practice. Speaking is very important, and people do not expect you to bring a pen and paper to talk to them and black and white. When you're older, you are going to speak. When you interact with others on a daily basis, you have to speak. But maybe you can start off, as a writer, or maybe even take a step back as a reader, so you know exactly what people are doing and using this language. So that would be a better solution for people who are less confident and who would think themselves as not too competent speakers of the language.
I guess baby steps, right? Like as teachers or as even presenters in society, then like when you order food, you're not, well, I guess you can just type out a whole script on your phone and then order. But then in most cases, you would do it without a script.
Yeah.
Like in debating, like, I don't know, at some point, you have to just...
Yeah, you said you have impromptu speech, but I didn't.
Yeah, and I suck at impromptu speeches. With my biggest weakness, even now, I would say, I don't know if it's for everyone, even probably the best speakers, I don't know. They say like their fear is impromptu speech, even with some of the greatest speakers in competitions I've met. And so I think I guess you have to baby steps, right? Like with writing, like until you're comfortable, and then you put it down, and then you try to do it.
There's one thing you always think yourself as that incompetent,
incompetent
writer or reader, speaker. Even with reading, sometimes you find yourself, hard. You find it hard to, comprehend even the text when it was so carefully and so, well constructed that you can't even understand. So, I think you always start with something easier, and make sure you don't, overwork, and just, as you said, baby steps.
Baby steps. So, this kind of reminds me of like DSC speaking exams. 4 of us, Hong Kongers, and then in this sort of setup. Because I feel like my breakthrough with impromptu speeches, back then in debating, I was absolutely messing up. We were doing, I think, 3 minutes, maybe. We have to do 2 at least. But then with the DSE, our teacher, then she gave us like this set format for like 1 minute impromptu Q&A. Like, then I sort of carried on. I brought this into my impromptu speeches. That kind of helped. But then, I started off with 1 minute, and now I'm progressing. And I feel like, look at us now. We're going to overrun instead of underrun. So we could talk forever, go on forever. But I feel like with the ones that struggled with, not being able to meet a certain time, not being able to speak for a certain time, I think, maybe 1 minute, and then go on and go on. Like with writing or whatever.
But sometimes it's always good to practice alone as well. For example, when okay, at the end of the day, you are doing conversations with people. You're talking to people. But then when you are alone, I do think you can practice by doing some monologue as well. Because sometimes one ridiculous way I practice English, spoken English, is that sometimes at home when I was alone, I tried to pretend the managers of the football managers of an interview. If I'm asked the question by the journalist, how would I react, to this situation? And sometimes I would literally face the mirror and I would talk to the mirror, and I can speak, for firstly a minute and then 2 minutes, and so on, and I do think when you're alone, you can still practice well in terms of spoken English. That sounds ridiculous, right?
No, actually, I shouldn't be laughing at you because I somehow do the same. I just don't pretend to be those managers. I talk to them as myself, and then I pretend to be my other self talking back to my self.
That's what I do with my dad.
I think the approach is fine. It's just you're not realistic.
You will never be the manager.
What do you mean? You never know. I'm not going to be a teacher, maybe.
Sure.
We're going to see you at EPL.
Yeah, see.
But I think being alone with yourself is when you're most comfortable, then you're most relaxed, and you can feel free to speak in English or speak in whatever language you want to speak
And
in.
you don't have to be afraid of making mistakes.
Yeah, and nobody will judge you,
Exactly.
like, except yourself maybe.
Mm.
But that's when you can try like different scenarios,
Yes.
being the manager,
Manager, yes.
being, I don't know, the principal or something, and you can put yourself into all sorts of settings and just imagine and also use your creativity. And yeah, imagine yourself being in different situations. And sometimes I also think it's a good way to like have a conversation with yourself. Like you have something what you're struggling with, then you bring up that topic and you speak with like you talk about it with yourself and you debate with yourself. Then you maybe somehow you come up with an answer. You never know.
I do that all the time with my dolls. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That dog, right?
Yeah, with you remember.
I'm a
He's
fan
inside.
of the channel.
How about, do you do that with writing? That's
Writing?
not, is that something writers do?
But writing is always, a one-person job. So I never tried writing with other people. So, people try to compose a work, together. Maybe you write a line and I write another, but I've never tried that. But I guess there is a method that I use, I always apply to writing. It's like a free writing. So what is a free writing? It basically means you have to be less conscious of what you're doing to let out your unconscious thoughts. So you don't care about grammars, you don't care about your word choice, anything. You don't care about whether you spell the word correctly. You just write. You don't let yourself stop. So whenever you start with another word, then you keep writing and writing. Maybe it's all nonsense, but there is probably a line or two that makes sense to you. And probably sometimes you will feel more comfortable doing it after, I'm not encouraging, but drinking, maybe, or other stuff that help you relax. And that is my way of writing, I guess. And when I feel really stressed, I cannot write well. So even I push myself very hard, I cannot think of ideas. So for example, when you're writing a story, you're writing maybe a novel or poetry, then even if you force yourself to write something good, to come up with some good ideas, it's not going to happen because you're so stressed that you're still yourself. Maybe you look at yourself, you're just that boring person in daily life. So how do you get out of your comfort zone, out of your daily, your appearance, your agreeable manners and stuff? You just let loose of yourself and you just be your true self, or maybe go against the grain. So you try to think of ideas that even maybe that's not commonly accepted by people, or it doesn't even have to be moral. You can think of things that are immoral, but you're just trying to, organize your thought and maybe put it into writing, and that's healthy, I guess. You let out your negativity, so you put it in a story instead of actually doing it. I guess that's how it helps.
I feel like there's the principle of practicing with speaking and writing is similar. Just that I feel like with writing, it's deeper, the level in terms. The principle is similar. It's like talking with yourself in probably socially unacceptable ways. But then with writing, I feel like it goes even a level deeper. But the principle, the method to practice, I guess it's similar with both. Then let's actually talk about the effect of siblings or friends. Do you have siblings?
Yes.
And then these two are the lone ones, so we just had a chat about that. But do you feel like your siblings or your best friends, your close friends, how do they affect you in your journey? It doesn't even have to be English, in learning. Say maybe for myself, I feel like my sister or some of my friends, they push me because most of the time I'm the probably more stupid one, and so I learn a lot from these other people around me, and then I aspire to be hopefully one day as good as they are.
You're
And
so humble.
Yeah, so I can't. These two I can't argue against them. But yeah, what's your experience with that?
Well, I have an elder sister. She's older, like 4 years older than me, and she's a way more artistic person than I am, and I'm the boring one, and she's a creative and artistic person, and that's like she studied English literature in secondary school, but I think she genuinely liked literature and art and everything, and but then she just, I don't know, she changed to another school and she couldn't keep up with the English syllabus, but she had those books, Oscar Wilde, something, and she gave them to me, and that's when I started reading, and then I realized I know nothing. I don't know the words. I can't even comprehend just like how, like, but I tried. I took his advice. I tried because he said you have to try, and I did try. In a very slow way, I read all those words and I use a dictionary to check all those, like the definitions of those words. But then once I started like knowing more and more words, I actually enjoyed reading. Not as much as reading Chinese books, but I still like reading English books, and I think that's when she actually helped me with like liking literature more, because I used to hate it so much. But then another thing is that I always thought that, like, everyone told me that getting into university is so free, chill. You don't have to study. You just enjoy your life.
Okay.
That's
Bullshit. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
but you can beat that. That's rubbish. Yeah, that's a lie. You actually had to work hard if you really want to learn something. And my sister learned her lesson. She didn't really, she didn't really study in the first 2 years of her university life. Then she realized, like in the third year, she finally realized the fun of learning.
Mm-hmm.
So she started putting more effort into her studies, but then she realized that's too late. So she really, she advised me strongly that remember to treasure your university years since year one. Not like when you realize, I can't catch up with things and I have to defer, I don't want to defer, so I have to work hard. But really enjoy your university life since year one. Not in the way that you always go to party, and you can go to party, but
Just like her. You can be a raver and a good student.
She is one.
Raver and what?
And a good
And
student.
A good student.
I don't go to party, but
I
you
have
can.
a question. She's single.
No.
Yeah, but was
Because she has
no. Was she considered a backup maybe?
Yeah, you can apply. She has a long list of backups already. You can try. Yeah, well,
She
Yeah.
knows.
yeah, I'll show the video.
No, I'm just kidding. But no. Or am I?
Yeah, just like that. And she actually gave me useful advice and gave me a key to open the beautiful world of English literature, somehow a peek.
Yeah.
How about with Roy? Because actually you spoke about how your sister, probably wasn't doing her work, giving it 100% in her first years.
Yeah.
Is that the case with you? Because I've had a chat with Roy, and your story I feel like is very worth
most
sharing.
classes in the first year, and
Didn't see you.
I even got a C+ for my English class. So that's my first English class, and I totally failed it. And I think, the time when I started, actually studying is when I, asked people, oh, what's your GPA and stuff. And I realized, oh, they're all getting good grades, and are they that good, or am I that bad? Either that. And I think I just don't want to disappoint myself. And sometimes I would regard myself as a lazy person, and I don't work really hard before I actually love studying. And I've taken classes and I've seen different professors, and a few of them made me really like knowing things. Like, by knowing things is that you know something, and they know a lot of things. Whenever you ask, they can answer it. And I think everyone was mesmerized by that kind of charisma. And I feel like if I know more, I maybe can be that kind of person. If not physically, there are things that you cannot change. But then maybe you can try to equip yourself with the knowledge that you find sexy or fascinating. And I think that would be a very important drive for me. I don't have siblings, I have friends, but honestly, I don't have friends who study literature as dedicated as it should be. Perhaps they're learning it or studying or reading books as an interest, but not putting all of their time on it. So I guess I am used to spending time on my own and just improve on my skills of reading and writing. But I wouldn't mind even discussing with people who don't read a lot and write a lot. I still learn a lot of things because they give you new perspective, and it's always open to interpretation. And if you think yourself is good enough, then if you think yourself already so good that you don't have to talk to people, then you are not very likely going to improve. So I guess always be humble and be hungry for whatever you are after.
Yes, true. I think because I don't have siblings, but I do have many friends that are able to push me in my studies. Like I think one of them has to be Roy. I'm honest. I'm honest.
He talked about it. He was like, "No, I don't want to be you." So
yes, true. He's a bit. No. I'm joking. Because I really enjoy discussing things that I don't know with people around me, and because it's always a time when you can learn more and more. You can explore in different world of knowledge. Because sometimes, very interestingly, last semester, every night when my mom called me, "Hey, where are you? Why aren't you home yet?" Every single time I was with him. Maybe sitting outside festival walk, and then having different chats on different topics, which I really enjoy. Okay, you don't maybe, but I do. I really enjoy it because we may discuss because I'm not a fan of English literature, but then sometimes when he shares his experience with me, I sometimes find it interesting as well. And he knows a lot about philosophy, and I'm not very sophisticated in philosophy, but I'm interested in it. So sometimes, I will discuss some topics with him as well. And this is where I can always learn more, to deepen my knowledge in this, aspects. And so I think friends are very important, especially those who you share some interest with, So, and because my uncle always, tells me, if you want to learn more, you have to, get along with people who like to learn. I feel very lucky that I always feel very lucky that people around me are always those who learn very hard, work very hard, and hungry for knowledge, and so that I can always discuss things that I'm interested or things that I don't really know with them. And so I think friends are people who I always learn from the most.
For writing, I really got into writing after getting into university. It was in my sophomore year, and I started writing for some personal reasons, and that really motivates me to be more expressive, because I am generally not a person that talks about my feelings face to face, and I honestly don't feel the need of it sometimes. But it's good to let out your feelings and to talk about your thoughts, to organize it. And for writing, even now, I guess I couldn't master how to balance things, because I don't sleep at night. I still keep reading and writing till morning, and I sleep in the morning. I wake up in the afternoon, and everything is effed up. But I enjoyed it. But I enjoy it very much, except for my kidney, my neck, everything. But still, I enjoy it. And I think maybe just do what you like. That probably isn't the best advice I can give. But take care and do things that you like. Enjoy life, whatever.
Both of you, like Roy and Joe, you don't sleep a lot.
Recently, yes, but before, no.
After he quit smoking, so.
I smoke a lot. Yeah, true.
You have to beat that
Shit.
again. You have
Will
to
I be
beep
arrested?
that. Anyway.
The reason why I recently don't sleep much is because of him again.
Oh.
No,
Wow.
hey, wait, this sounds sus. No. Not that.
What are you talking about?
Not that. What do you think? What do you
I
think?
don't know. Just studying with him all night.
Yes, true. SP, right? Study partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, studying with him all night. Because I do enjoy discussing things with people around me, like what I've said, and so before you discuss with them, you need something, right? You need something to discuss with them. So I'm trying to read more and to gain more from books, basically, and so that I can have a little bit of a chat with people who share the same interest with me, and so this is why I didn't sleep well recently, But before that, I would say, but I won't say this is an imbalance of life, because when I think I do handle my time pretty well. I did manage my time pretty well, because I know when to do what. Basically, I know that from this time to this time, I can stay up. Okay, not sleep. I can read, but then when I do feel tired, I won't be like him. I will go sleep, and then the next day I wake up and I start working again, and that's the routine.
So why do you need any form of balance? Who is to
True.
define it?
Maybe you don't need.
And people think,
define it.
you gotta have some balance, you gotta get some rest, but I feel like when you're passionate about it, you just
Yes,
do it.
true.
And you don't think about having time off or
Having a shorter lifespan.
you don't even care about it. Why spend all those time in life? Just live a happy life.
Enjoy your life.
So like your definition of happiness is like doing this thing to us would be suffering.
I guess it depends on different people. Like if you really like the thing you do, perhaps some people will still make it. They can have a healthy life. They can have a good job or professional work. They can have their hobbies and interests. But for me, it's just too hard to put it together and just have 24 hours every day, and how could I, put all these things in the slots? And I have to leave myself some leeway, and I don't like schedules, and I don't like things that limits me. I'm meant to do this thing at this time period, and I don't like that. If I don't have a timetable, I'll work even more. So I think that really helped me, and especially when you're trying to do some form of creative work. And I think the last thing you should do is to set a very straight schedule for yourself. So you're basically trapped in system, trapped in that routine. So your mind is in that headspace. You won't be creative. You won't think out of the box, and perhaps that's not a good idea for studying in general. But if you're doing any form of creative work or artwork, then probably you should cut yourself some slack and maybe live shorter.
That's cutting off slack. How about Angeline? You feel like you have a good balance?
Do I have a good balance?
Like with academic clubs or anything?
I used to join the drama club, drama society in year 1, and I also had a performance. But then, like the higher year I get, I realize I don't really have the time for leisure or for interests. So since then I didn't really join drama anymore. But then I still take time to rest, unlike them, and I do things I like as well. I think I have, because I think it's different for me, like compared to them. They can work in midnight and stuff, but I cannot. I will shut down right at like 2 a.m. That's my maximum already. Like after 2 a.m. my brain basically cannot function unless I'm watching like K-drama or something. Then I can function. But then if I have to work, like really type something or write essays or read even, I can't do that. So it's like the limitation of myself. But then I wouldn't say I have a really good balance, because I still procrastinate and I still deadline fight, but I do think I will live longer than him. And I do enjoy.
We'll see.
Yeah,
The average female, for your information, I think lives longer than the average male does.
let's see. But like I enjoy a balanced life. Like so, like just as he says, it differs. Like
Differs
between
from person.
Yeah.
The balance.
Yeah. For me, I would like to sleep earlier and wake up earlier to live a normal life. Let's not define normal, but like the stereotypical normal life. And I can do things I like after school. Sometimes I read, sometimes I watch drama, sometimes I just sit on look into the mirror, talk to myself.
Good hobby to have.
I also go to church and all sorts of things. So I like having my alone time, but also socializing with people at times. Yeah, and that's my definition of balance. And I do think I do not club.
Okay, I'm not gonna go into any more of the like balance, because it really depends. Like 24 hours, I don't know how many years we have. Then that balance, it's hard to say. Only when even after you die, you probably don't know you had a balanced life.
Exactly.
So I think that's enough for the discussion. What drives you? What pushes you to get up and do your stuff and like work towards your goal every day?
Every day. Well, because in my secondary years, my teachers were very supportive and they were willing to sacrifice all their, not all, but like some of their time after school to actually help us with our exams or training our skills. It's totally optional. They don't have to do that. They didn't have to do that, but they just did that because they wanted us to thrive, or just they wanted to help us. So this is one of my motivations, like the like the long-term motivation to help my students, like along their ways, along their journey of learning, to make them feel like learning is something fun, something that's not too boring or something meaningless. I want them to, somehow I want to inspire them. Not that I can be an inspiration, but I want to. And that's what I want to do. But what drives me every day is probably just deadlines. And maybe just to complete a day, just live a day with meaning. I don't know how to say that.
Yes. So my selfish motive is money. Yes, is money. Because compared to other occupations, teachers can probably give me the most stable income. That's it. I don't have to explain more on that. I mean, stable income is one big consideration of mine.
I'm not planning to teach, so but I guess it has something to do with how good my secondary school English teacher was, and I feel like I could never be as good as he was or he is. I'm not saying the proficiency of English, but the passion, the time he put in to teaching, and the effort and the amount of care and love that he had for a student. And I feel like I could never be as selfless as he is. And he always argues that he's not selfless, that he's selfish, that he kind of have those, as you said, selfish motives in mind. But I feel like it kind of helped him did a good thing in some way or another. And I just don't foresee myself doing that kind of thing in secondary school. But I'll, of course, consider it as an option. But if you ask me what drives me to work, I would say the selfish motive would be to impress. Because when you write, you try to express yourself, but at the same time, imagine yourself in an island or in a world that there is only you on this planet, on the whole world. That would you still write? You wouldn't, because there is no reader. Or maybe you would keep a diary, because that's a habit of yours, but the reader is yourself. And you're writing for someone, you're always writing for an audience, instead of just keeping it. Maybe you just don't want to show it right now, but someday maybe you want to. So I guess keep reading and writing makes me a better, maybe a critic or maybe a better writer in general, and just so I can maybe impress myself, maybe impress others, and that's it.
What would be one book, film, podcast, any sort of stuff you'd recommend to others that probably inspired you yourself in some way?
Books. I have a lot of books in mind, but if you ask me to think of one book that I have to recommend, I will recommend a short book, because I feel like if I say, for example, Crime and Punishment is like a 600-page novel, you're not going to read it, right? So I guess you can start with something lighter, especially when you want to read a novel. Maybe you can start with something not so political that you don't have to stress yourself out. Then I would recommend The Stranger of Camus. And I think it's a good book because it encapsulates our modern condition, of a person situated in a society where everything is contingent or every rule is arbitrary, that sometimes, maybe not always, but we feel like we don't fit in. In a society, we have to follow all the norms and rules and all that, and I just don't feel like myself. That's exactly the situation in the novel. And I think for whoever you find is lost and find difficulty, or maybe in a period you find it difficult to get through, you can visit the story, you can read the book, you can see how the protagonists react to that kind of society. But a little spoiler is not a happy ending, so you have to. It really gives you something to think about, something realistic, not instead of just some fairy tale that tells you there is a happily ever after story.
And I would recommend a YouTube channel, Redo English, I BA Eng. I think it's quite famous, so you guys should know. Even if you don't know, it's fine. Now you know it.
I'll put it up here.
Yeah, and he's a Taiwan creator, and he mainly just teaches English in his YouTube channel. But I think something good about him is that he tries to make English fun, and because his target audience are those who somehow struggle with learning English, or those who find English not so fun to learn. So he tries to make it interesting. He has all those videos you will know, and the favorite series is the English Corner or something like that. He talks about some a particular topic, for example, being a vegetarian. He talks about it, and you can learn vocabulary items and sentence patterns and all those related and relevant things in that video, and I think it's great. Yeah, and it isn't really time consuming. Yeah, those are short videos.
He's on Bilibili as well, so I'll just put it up there.
Yeah.
And my recommendation is similar to Angeline's. It's called Go. Yeah, many people you know him, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and his because we are all English educators, right? And this is a channel where you viewers can probably learn some common English mistakes that you may have made or you now still make. I mean, because he's a Hong Konger, he likes to observe, some common mistakes, especially in spoken English, from Hong Kongers, and he would try to explain the mistakes in a very, sarcastic way. And this is where I find it very funny and enjoyable. And so, besides that, he would, also try to share his views on some social issues in English, and you can also learn some English vocabulary throughout his videos. And I mean, it's a good channel where you can learn English and you can find a lot of fun. So I would recommend this channel if you want to learn English well. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So now that this is actually the end of the questions. Now that you've plucked others, is there anything you want to pluck for yourself or anything related to yourself?
EDS. Yes.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that?
What's that?
You can see here.
It's the Baptist University English Debate Club.
Society.
Debate Society. They were the what?
Vice President.
Wow,
I'm no one.
I'm not even in the
Okay, they're the committees. Okay.
dismissed now.
No.
Executive.
We
committee.
have been approved.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
And Angeline's dog, right? Yeah, I'll put it up here and down there as well. Yeah, I'll make sure to link it. But thanks guys for helping me out. This was 2 to 3 hours in the making. I hope you haven't been bored. Hope the food's been fine.
Very.
Yeah, thank you very much. The next time we're going to see each other, for your information, because they will be going on an immersion to the UK, if that's possible. Fingers crossed that works out. I'll be going to Fudan, so when I come back in the summer, they'll be gone, and so we probably won't be seeing each
Hopefully I'll
other.
be gone.
It's gonna be months.
I want to be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we could stay in touch till then. But that's it for this one. Hope you learned something. I definitely did from my wonderful bunch of friends. We met back in year 1 in university English. I didn't know Angeline back then, but we were in the same class, and then we were in the same group last year. So yeah, hopefully you learned a thing or two. But if you did, or even if you didn't, like, comment, subscribe, 一键3连, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright guys, peace.